Hey everybody, this is Scott. Welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, my wife Melody and I run an online sales business. We sell primarily on eBay, Poshmark, and Etsy. Most of the things that we sell are vintage clothes and things like that. But we also are not afraid to get outside of those things and look at hard goods and other things that we find interesting that we think we can make a profit on. In this video, I'm going to share with you an incredible buy I made recently that has turned into one of my favorite flips of all time. So if you think that will be interesting, stick around and we'll get right to it. So what this video consists of is I got a call from a friend of mine that had a couple of boxes of vintage models. I'm talking about the kind that you glue together and you build the model. I know they make cars and they make boats, they make planes, tanks, all different kinds of things. But I'm always interested, and he has a really good eye. And so I went over to his house and we're looking at them. And the first few I looked up were not terrific. But it was such an interesting haul that I decided, we talked about it, and I gave him a couple $100 for them, and I think there were about 40 to 45 models. So what happened is I got home, and man, it was like deja vu. Immediately, I went back to 12-year-old me. I remembered we lived in a little town called Proctor, Minnesota, and I don't remember how, but I had a few dollars, and I walked down to the drugstore, and I remember going through all the models, and most of them were $1.50 to $2.50, but I had to buy glue and I had to buy paint if I was going to customize them, and I picked up an old Model A, model. Went home and it was an absolute mess. That glue got everywhere, and if it gets on the plastic, but it was just a rush of deja vu going back through these things, which I think is why that they're worth a lot of money today. So this particular haul had, like I say, 40 to 45 models in it, and almost all of them were mid-50s to the early 1960s. And outside of my previous experience as a little boy trying to build some, I've learned an awful lot about these. And there are a lot of reasons this has become one of my favorite flips of all time. One, the deja vu part. I mean, you can't discount that. I mean, it's fun to list stuff that takes you back. But two, there was such a wide variety of models in this lot that it was a genuine learning experience. A lot of the cars were hot rods. Some of them were the vintage older cars like the Model A and the Duesenbergs and things like that. And there were a few boats mixed in. So the learning opportunity here was real. There was a bunch of different things. And so what I'd like to do is kind of go through some of the models that I have left, because while this, I think in my head it had started out as a haul video, these things sold so quickly that a haul video doesn't work because I don't have them here to show you. It's been just a few weeks since I bought them, and I'll cover the numbers at the end of the video, and you'll want to stick around for that because they're kind of staggering. Let me put it like this. The numbers are staggering enough that once I started to see what these were worth, I called my friend back and I was like, hey, are you home? And I took him more money because I had based my evaluation of what I could pay on the first few I looked up, and the first few were not indicative of what the models were worth as a whole. So, but let me show you some of the ones that I do have left, and also what to look for when you're looking at models. So I'm going to grab them and I'll bring them up here, and I'll try and zoom in with the camera a little bit so you get a picture of some of the details. I'm going to start with one that is outside the cars. So this, and I will try and fix some of it, but the models move around in the boxes some, and you're going to hear some of that. But this was a Viking ship. And so one of the things you're going to look for on here are a date. A date will help you so much. So I'm going to zoom in right here. And so like on this one, you'll see that it's 1957. It makes a big difference on the models whether or not it's an original. A lot of these models have been reproduced more than once. And so the date on the model is going to be something that's going to be very indicative of what it's worth. So this particular brand, Aurora, is something that is a good brand. You'll see that one quite a bit. So the next model I'd like to show you is another very, very good brand, and some of my best sellers were this brand. And that's AMT. The AMT models are also beneficial. On the end of them, you will see that they have that number right there. And that number is very, very useful in finding comps to see what people have had. Just like with a lot of toys, the buyers of these things are very, very interested in the condition of the box. It's not just enough to have the model. They want a good box. And the better the box is, the prices will go up. Now, this model, this is a 32 Ford, and all of the ones, not all of the ones, I had a few that were still sealed, but all of the ones that I had, I just said it wasn't all of them, the vast majority of the ones I had an open box. And so what that means is when the whole thing wasn't wrapped in plastic, and then on the inside, the model is loose. It doesn't have the plastic wrapper around them. But again, you're looking for things like this. This would be the original instruction sheet, and it should have, if the model had them, the original decal sheet. And most of those things, you will find a date either in the instruction book or on the box itself. And the very, very minute details can tell the age of a model, like they'll change the number slightly. So you'll want to spend a little bit of time making sure you know which one you have, because that drastically changes the price. It might go from a $20 model to a $50 model. And like in this example, this one's listed for $50. Some of the models are going to be in different size boxes. And when you're at garage sales, keep your eyes open for them. What makes like this one, the Strombecker one, some of these actually had motors in them. And so if you get one that's motorized or can take a motor, they go up in value. Most of the models that I have left that I'm showing you right now are the ones that were less expensive. These are the ones that are hovering around the $50 price range. Let me get into some of the models that are priced a little higher. This one I have priced probably too high. It's probably the only reason that I have it left. But the brand on this one is Revel. Revel is a very, very good brand. You want to see those model numbers on there that tell you exactly which one it is. And on this one, the date is also very, very clear on it. I hope that showed up. I couldn't see it with the model in front of me. So this model is the 1957 Chevrolet, which one of the things that drives the prices of these up a great deal is when it's a popular car. Hot rods, at least from the very limited experience I've had, are the ones that go for the most. Also, with this model, you will see that it is still inside. The plastic bag is sealed. I think that the only reason it hasn't sold, I think that I have it priced appropriately if it didn't have an issue. But I'm going to try and zoom in. I don't know if you can see that on the camera or not, but the pieces that I have that were chromed, these over time, the chrome has worn off. And so it's got the yellow plastic showing through it. And so it's not as chrome as it should be. But this model, I have this model priced at $275, and I run a sale usually in my store for $233. I'm probably only going to get 150 or so because of the condition of the plastic. Still, that's a ton of money. That's a ton of money for a model car. I should have just bought the ones I bought for $2 and put them up and not have messed them up by trying to use them. The next model I'm going to share with you is a very good brand. And this model is complete. It has been opened. But then I want to share with you why this one won't be worth just a ton of money. The brand is Monogram. And that's a good brand. The model is a Duesenberg. And so what ends up happening with these, let me see if I can find. It is complete. It is complete. It is not a sealed. There's plastic in there, but it is not sealed. But what ends up happening with these is this isn't a car that the average person is terribly interested in. The models that I had that did the best were the ones that were hot rods or something with that the car itself would have a big draw to the average person. Most of us didn't drive a Duesenberg, and we haven't ever been in one. So that model just won't be worth as much. I'll probably get somewhere around $50 for it. So one of the things that I would tell you when you're listing these, if it's been opened, is I would show the box, take clear pictures of the box, remember, because that's a very important part of it. But I would lay the kit out. The pieces, if they're still attached to the trees, it makes it much easier to see if the model is complete. But you lay the entire model out and you take a clear picture of it, remembering that the people that build these models have a much better idea of whether or not it's complete than you do if you're in my situation and you're fairly new to it. That isn't the only thing. My own interest level and the amount of money I made isn't the only thing that made these fantastic to sell. If you've sold very long at all, there are certain areas where the people are tough to deal with. I had a bunch of the electric skateboards for a while, and again, not a lot of knowledge on my part, but the people that use them were very, very unforgiving about it. At least, like I said, in the limited experience I had, they weren't helpful. They expected you to know, and I don't know that I would pick that kind of stuff up anymore. The car models were completely different. Not only did they sell very fast and for a lot of money, but the people that bought them, if they made an offer, they paid right away. And even though I've only been listing them for a few weeks, I've sold over half of them that I had, and probably 90% of the people that have bought one and already received it have almost immediately left me positive feedback. I had one guy who mentioned a missing part that he didn't ask for his money back. In fact, the note was super nice, but he said, "Hey, if you see it, let me know." But he bought it's one of the things I'll show at the end. He bought a bunch of models from me, and if the guy were being a jerk, I would end up having to take care of him. eBay would force it, and I just have my own rule that when I'm dealing with super nice people, I take care of them anyway. So I sent him a note after I looked, and I said, I don't have the windshield here. And I kind of feel like that's a part I should have noticed, because the plastic is different, and when you lay it out, it's easy to spot. He could have noticed it too, and like I say, he wasn't asking for anything. But what I did is I went ahead and popped in there and refunded his purchase cost of it. And I almost immediately got a note back from him. It was like, "That's unbelievable." And he said, "I'm going to go ahead and buy another model from you so you're not out any money." And he did. And the community around this, and it's a large community, and it is thriving. There's a lot of activity going around model building and professional model builders. It was just a whole fantastically exciting community to be a part of, even though I've only been, a short period of time with just a few items. Very helpful people who would reach out and say, "Hey, on one of the ones I knew I was missing a part, you could just see the missing tree." And the guy sent me and he goes, "Oh, you're missing the trophy." Like he could look at the tree and know which one I was missing. People were so helpful. They paid right away. They didn't make ridiculous offers. and then they left you positive feedback. So my advice to you when you're out, if it's outside of your comfort zone, take a peek. If somebody's got old models there, it certainly can't hurt to look them up and see if they have any value. For me, it's my new favorite item, and so when I'm out, I'm definitely going to be looking for them. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to close the video and show you some screenshots of those items that have sold. They've already sold and already been shipped, already got my money, and to give you an idea of what a great haul this was. So that's it for me. Stick around because I want you to see some of the things that sold, and leave a comment below if I'm older than most of the people. According to the analytics on YouTube, I am older than most of the people watching my channel, but they still make models. Post below if you remember making any, if you gave it a shot. If you were really good at it, I was not. It wasn't something I was going to do professionally. Or post below and let me know which one of these was your favorite. So that's it. Stick around, watch the video. Thanks again for watching.